But you guys, you have a point of view on a measurement standard for video to equate it to TV and sort of, right?
Sure,
I mean,
absolutely.
talk us through that rationale and thinking.
Yeah. So it's, it's a GRP from a planning perspective, all right? Now, I stress that because to me, there's been, I think, a lot of confusion when you listen to the general media when they talk about GRPs, and some people try to look at the GRP as an evaluation metric in terms of effectiveness, which I don't think it is at all. Right? I mean, it doesn't tell you what the sales response or the impact of the ad or the campaign is. It tells you up front, I think, and while you're running the plan, how many people are you reaching and how many times are you delivering, the ad in terms of, number of impressions. So it is, though, a metric that in the traditional world has been used to look across, platforms of media to help you understand up front, how many people you're reaching in an unduplicated sense and what's the frequency. And I think even with programmatic buying, that frequency issue is still pretty important because when it comes right down to it, you're paying per impression. So I think you need to know what it is that, that you're delivering. Maybe the reach dimension in programmatic isn't as important, but
I think that's really important because let's talk about the origin of programmatic. The origin of programmatic was with the Yahoos, AOLs, and Microsofts when all of a sudden the buy side got smart enough to realize they were buying the same eyeballs. Yeah. Right. I mean that's the genesis in some people's perspective of programmatic.
Yeah.
And are we sort of coming full circle now that we're moving up funnel to buy on audience and frequency and reach?
I think so, but I think there's also another dimension to programmatic that was brought up with the first panel, which is that it'll lower your cost of buying. There's no question about it. And there are two ways that I think that happens. One is that it makes the whole process more efficient and it eliminates a lot of the human work maybe that's normally involved in the buy-sell. But it's pretty clear that the inventory that you're buying is coming to you at a lower CPM. So programmatic is, you can argue it's also addressing the issue of duplication, but fundamentally, I gotta believe that what's really driving it right now is just the cost. Just lowers the cost.
So, is a measurement standard for video that accounts for GRP? Is that just a negotiation currency?
No.
I mean, because I would love to set that up to talk about the relationship, the partnership with Starcom and how they've levered your measurement currencies in the upfront.
Sure. Well, I can actually talk about both Starcom and one of their clients, Kellogg's, which has been pretty open about their experience with programmatic and their experience with with different measurement systems. And in fact, if you go to YouTube and just do a search on Bob Arnold or Aaron Fetters from Kellogg's, and you'll see a bunch of videos there where they talk openly about their use of programmatic and then what they're seeing in terms of results. So what we provide for them and for Starcom is a system that provides them with a measure while the campaign is running of the frequency, the targeting composition that's being reached, metrics that will help evaluate the campaign awareness, purchase intent, recall, those kind of metrics, and viewability. Now, viewability isn't there yet for the video piece, but viewability is there for the non-video part of the digital campaign. And Kellogg's, again, has said that since they've been optimizing these campaigns in real time, their digital ROI has gone up a factor of 5 to a factor of 6, compared to what they had before.
So let's close loop. So we're talking about optimization, right?
Right.
But starting the process, can we plan against it?
Sure.
In the closed loop?
Sure. Well, yes, I think programmatic makes it a little bit more challenging because you need to know where the impressions are going to be landing that you're buying, and you really don't know that. You're buying impressions, right? You're buying an audience. So I think the upfront planning is a little bit more complicated unless you're using a private exchange with programmatic. But it certainly looks to me as if once you've locked in your dollar savings on the buy, which you can do, then you got to worry about whether or not what you are then delivering in programmatic, where are these ads landing, and et cetera, et cetera.
But this is where, I mean, this is the challenge of being at such an early stage of the space, right? It's because everyone inherently is suffering from flawed logic, right? So I hear you when we talk about buying against an audience and reach and frequency. But for me, it's about, do we hold it as to the delivery of the audience? Is that the accountability, or is the accountability on the media and how it's delivered, which is what programmatic opens up a world of transparency and affords, right?
Well, the issue is, are the claims about the accuracy of the targeting realistic or not? And I think what we're finding, and I think maybe this is generally true of the internet, some of the claims that are being made about how accurate the delivery is on some of this targeting stuff are just incorrect. I mean, if you look
So is that because the platforms are flawed or the data's flawed?
I think a big part of it is based upon, there are two things. One is, if you look at the desktop component, you've got the cookie is generally used as the targeting mechanism. Well, unfortunately, these cookies get deleted, and they're getting deleted at an increasing rate. 30% of all computers in the United States have their cookies deleted in a month, and the rate of deletion on third-party cookies is somewhere around 6 times a month. So that causes some real problems in terms of targeting accuracy. The other factor is that you've got multiple users on a machine. And so you could have a cookie that's put on a machine because there was a woman using it when she visited a certain site, and then when the ad's delivered, there's a man on the machine, and boom, there goes your targeting accuracy.
Where does that put mobile then on the food chain, right? Because there's no cookie in mobile, so screw it. We're not going to have that business lever with which to target, and we pretty much know it's a one-to-one relationship. Maybe tablets are different with children, but we're not targeting advertising towards children anyway. So let's say the over 18 crowd, it's a one-to-one there. Does that afford greater runway and value for mobile based on what you said are two of the biggest issues?
When you say affords greater value, it's a challenge if somebody can solve it. Now, only at the beginning of this year did we at comScore finally release the first multi-platform measurement systems at the site level. I don't think there is another behavioral-based system that's doing that. Wasn't easy to do. Whole new set of technology. Now we are in the process of building out the multi-platform ad evaluation systems.
Will you talk about that? Will you talk about that measurement normalization for video specifically, multi-platform?
Yeah. So it comes with whether the ad is delivered in a video format or not. It requires a tagging of the ad, and then it requires the ability to unduplicate the audience across the 3 platforms. Desktop, phones, and tablets. And that requires very different technology than just having a small single source panel of people. And that's what we've developed, the basic technology that we use to deliver this Mediametrics multi-platform. It's also the same fundamental technology that we are using to build out for ESPN, a 5-platform measurement system that will be done later this year.
And this is what I think is really interesting from the publisher side of the business right now. And I look at my client portfolio, and the conversations I'm having with my clients who are typically publishers are, is your competitive advantage in content or is it in technology?